Joe Rogan sounds the alarm. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Hey, fight fans. Welcome back to Today Fights, your go-to spot for all things combat sports, breakdowns, and drama. Today, we're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping announcements in boxing. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. That's right. The YouTube sensation turned boxer is stepping into the ring with a heavyweight legend. But hold on, even Joe Rogan, the king of MMA commentary, is warning that this could spell big trouble for Paul. He's saying Jake has straight up angered Joshua, and this fight might not end well for the underdog. Let's break it all down, from the backstory to why this Netflix spectacle has the combat world buzzing. First, let's set the stage. We're talking about the tail end of 2025, a year that's already been packed with epic bouts in UFC and beyond as the UFC winds down its calendar. The spotlight shifts to boxing specifically. A couple of massive late-year events that are shaking up the scene. Just a day before Misfits Boxing drops its latest card full of influencers, rappers, and viral personalities duking it out. We get the return of the guy who basically invented crossover boxing, Jake Paul. For those new to this, Jake Paul started as a YouTube star with his brother Logan, pulling in millions of views with pranks and vlogs. But in 2020, he pivoted hard into boxing, kicking off the Influencer versus Ampro era. He's fought retired MMA stars like Anderson Silva and Tyron Woodley, even knocking out former NBA player Nate Robinson. Paul's record, an impressive 10-1 as a pro, with most wins by knockout. But critics say he's cherry-picked opponents lighter weights, older fighters, or none. This time, it's different. Way different. Here's the wild context. Paul was originally set to fight lightweight champ Gervonta Tank Davis in early November on Netflix, but that bout got scrapped. Last-minute rumors swirled about weight issues, negotiations falling apart, or even Davis pulling out. Whatever the reason, it left Paul and Netflix in a scramble. They needed a blockbuster replacement, and boy, did they find one. Enter Anthony Joshua, the British powerhouse and former two-time unified heavyweight world champion. Joshua, or AJ as fans call him, is no joke, standing at 6 feet 6 inches with a reach that feels endless. He's dominated the heavyweight division for years. Gold medalist at the 2012 Olympics. He's held titles from the WBA, WBO, and IBO, sure. He's had setbacks, losses to Andy Ruiz Jr., but he's bounced back with vicious knockouts. Like his recent demolition of Francis at 35 Joshua is still a force, packing power that could end fights in seconds. And now he's stepping up against Paul, who's cruising at cruiserweight, around 200 pounds, and has never faced anyone this big or experienced. The fight's going down on December 19th at Miami's KCA Center, a fitting spot for this star-studded event. Netflix is banking big on it, streaming live to millions. Paul calls himself the problem child, and he's hyping this as his ultimate test. But the boxing world, they're calling it a total mismatch. Paul's got speed and showmanship, but Joshua's size, power, and pro experience over 30 fights make this look like David versus Goliath if David was a social media star with a mean right hook. And that's where Joe Rogan comes in, a podcaster, comedian, and UFC commentator who's seen it all in combat sports. In his first public reaction to this shock announcement, Rogan didn't hold back. On a recent episode of his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, he warned Paul directly. You've angered Anthony Joshua. Rogan elaborated that Joshua, known for his calm demeanor, seems genuinely fired up, maybe pissed off by Paul's trash talk or the idea of a YouTuber challenging his legacy. Rogan, who's commentated on everything from UFC title fights to Paul's early bouts, called it a huge step up and hinted that Paul's bravado might have lit a fire under AJ. Rogan's not alone. Figures from MMA and boxing, like Conor McGregor and Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, have weighed in, mostly siding with it being a mismatch. But hey, upsets happen. Remember Paul's win over Wood? This could be Paul's chance to prove the haters wrong and cement his spot in boxing history. Or it could be Joshua reminding everyone why heavyweights ruled. What do you think? Is this the end of Jake Paul's streak? Or a massive upset? Drop your predictions in the comments. Hit that like button if you're hyped for December 19th. And subscribe for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for fight updates.